And also says NIMC awaits presidential approval for May launch, says procurement will be seamless. And also part of the rider says Nigerians to get different e-cards for banking, social intervention, ECOWAS activities. So 3 different cards from the federal government starting from June, pending the president's approval. And also still on the Punch newspaper this morning, there is also the headline talking about the dollar video that has to do with Ganduje. It says, release reports of Ganduje's probe. Kanu tells EFCC. Release reports of Ganduje's probe. Kanu tells EFCC. And still on the Punch newspaper this morning, one of the headlines is talking about, the Salah celebration. And it says, Salah, federal government declares Tuesday, Wednesday holidays as Tinubu arrives Lagos. Tuesday, Wednesday holidays as Tinubu arrives Lagos. So it's a great one. We're having a holiday.
All right. Still on Punch newspaper this morning, we have a $2.3 billion Siemens Power project transformers and substations arrive Nigeria. $2.3 billion Siemens Power project transformers, substations arrive Nigeria. Now, the electricity transformers and substations that were meant for the Siemens Power project have arrived in the country as the project gains traction. This is according to the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu. He said this yesterday, and he said the development came a few months after the federal government renewed the mega power project contract with the German government and Siemens following several months of delay. So, the minister has said that the COVID-19 pandemic and the death of the late chief of staff to the former president, Muhammadu Buhari Abba Kyari, they had hampered the implementation of a memorandum of understanding that was signed between Nigeria and Siemens to transform power transmission and distribution in the country. We'll be looking at that in a bit, but still on this issue of electricity, OPS takes power tariff hikes protest to Tinubu. OPS takes power tariff hikes protest to Tinubu. Looking at the controversies that are continuing to trail the federal government's recent removal of electricity subsidy for over 1.8 million subscribers categorized to be on Band A feeders, members of the organized private sector have insisted that the hike must be suspended for review. We'll check out that in a moment.
And also still talking about more headlines on the Punch newspaper before we move on to the next paper this morning. Let's talk about the editor's abduction. This development has been in the news for a couple of months now. Editor's abduction, NPAN, NGE, NUJ demand probe, threaten lawsuit. That is the headline on the Punch newspaper. And away from the Punch, now let's move on to the headline on Daily Trust this morning. And if you have a copy of Daily Trust, you'll definitely see the lead story on the front covers of the Daily Punch, which talks about, one prevailing issue in the country at the moment. And of course, it talks about, help us recover 169 million naira cattle. Fulani groups urge security agencies. That's on the Daily Trust. And also, we'll be talking about, the statement credited to the Minister of Power. It says how local production of oil, the Minister of Interior, I beg your pardon, how local production of international passports will benefit Nigerians. That is one of the headlines on Daily Trust newspaper this morning.
All right, let's move on to the Sun. We're checking out this headline. It says 2027, there's a crisis brewing in the PDP as Atiku and Wike's loyalists are battling for supremacy. This is projections for 2027 general elections, and the bone of contention as gathered is the control of leadership of the opposition party ahead of 2027 general elections. Inside sources are revealing that the Atiku and Wike's camps are already mobilizing ahead of the April 18th NEC meeting, where major decisions regarding the appointment of a substantive national chairman and other critical issues would be taken. So this would be the first time the NEC, second highest organ of the party, will be meeting in the last 18 months. So barring any last minute changes, major issues to be discussed include the appointment of a replacement for Iochai Ayu, That's the national chairman of the party. He lost his seat shortly after the 2023 general elections, following his sack as a member of the party by his ward in Benue State. So we'll be checking that out in a moment, because who is going to get the control of the party? Erike, who we have seen to be sort of pandering to the other party, to the opposition, now in opposition of the PDP, that's the APC. We've seen him frolic with quote-unquote the enemy at this point. So we'll be checking out who exactly will be taking on the leadership of the party come 2027 projections as well.
Also, still on the headlines this morning, let's talk about the drama brewing in the Labour Party and also the drama with the NLC at the moment. We actually saw the headline which talked about, Obi leaving Labour Party. And on the Punch, that was a very interesting headline I saw, and I thought it's necessary to bring it up here. Labour Party, it has said Obi free to leave Labour Party, says NLC. That is on the Punch newspaper. This has been one of the biggest story in the news over the weekend. And of course, Peter Obi, in his response, have now said, I am not leaving Labour Party. Obi replies NLC, that is on the Punch newspaper. Definitely will be hammering on this particular development when we get to have our conversation with Rufai OSENI and Larry Ogwegu this morning. And moving on to more development in the news this morning.
All right, we have the Eid al-Fitr this Tuesday and Wednesday. The federal government has declared Tuesday and Wednesday public holidays, and the president is set to observe Eid al-Fitr in Lagos. This is according to the presidency. The president is to spend the holidays in Lagos, according to what they've said. Also, we are seeing there's still drama brewing in Kano State, because Yusuf has tackled Ganduje, saying that's the Kano State Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf. He has replied his predecessor, tackling him that he's got no shame to speak on the failures after 8 years of misrule. There's still drama brewing in Kano State, and just how far that will go, we'll be checking that out in a moment. But right now it's 7:15. It is time for Who Said What. Keep it locked.
Talk.
Before you even announce a result, you should have the CTC waiting.
Keep talking.
If you want to tax people, you must provide them service.
Don't stop talking.
If anybody is telling that I'm a mole, that person is just being mischievous.
Hey, it's your right to talk.
We are Voice of the People.
Let's talk.
Do you like what we do? Want to see some more of us? Head over and meet us on YouTube, Insta, and Twitter. At Voice of the People 96.1 FM. Share us on your socials. Tell everyone. Send us a message. We'd love to hear from you. Follow us at Voice of the People 96.1 FM. See ya.
We bring you all the big stories and what's behind them. Politics, business, sports, news, all on VOP 96.1 FM. Now you have a voice.
Others may drop the mic. I talk into it. If you're in need of a voice, well, I've got one.
Voice of the People 96.1 FM. You're welcome back. This is still the Front Page Review. Of course, we're live on YouTube
at Voice of the People Abuja. Just go there, subscribe to a page, like, as well as drop your comment. And if you've missed previous editions of the Morning Ride as well as the Front Page Review, you can also join in and get to check them out. And now to Who Said What this morning right here on the Front Page Review. This is the segment where we play a statement or a certain soundbite of individuals, key individuals in the country, and making certain statement regarding national issues. And of course, let's get to start with the electricity tariff increment, which has actually elicited a lot of response in the past couple of weeks. Some Nigerians have spoken about this, and we'll just take some bite of two notable Nigerians on this particular issue. The NLC president, Joe Ajaero, has spoken about this, and part of what Joe Ajaero said in his statement is that the Minister of Power should be asked what he has done to deserve cost-reflective tariffs. When he was interviewed on television, let's get to listen to what Joe Ajaero had to say about the increment in electricity tariff, and of course the statement or the remark he made about the Minister of Power, Adelabu, on this particular subject matter.
Privatizing electricity, and then government taking over in a deregulated sector. That's how today the minister doesn't have the powers to regulate cost or anything in the power sector because they have handed it over to the private sector. So what is he doing there? Two, they don't have right to subsidize a private man's business. Tell him I said so. If Ajaero bought a disco and then you are subsidizing me higher than the tune at which I bought the disco, what do you think he's doing? Tell him it's a prodigal economy. The entire power sector was sold at about 400 billion. And he's telling you that this year alone, that they will subsidize by 2.something trillion. Tell him, what is he doing there? Another person's business. Private business. So all these things he's saying to some of us who knew that they privatized over 10 years ago, and they told us that government has no business. So I don't really act. That's why I said, let them come up to tell us. Let them come up to tell us whether they have taken over the power sector and they are now micromanaging it, or is it still in the hands of the private sector and they are subsidizing other people's business.
Up to 67%.
Yes. So we need to, when we get this, some of us can now give informed commentary on them.
Okay, so that was Joe Ajaero talking about, the electricity tariff as well as the subsidy that is claimed to be paid by the federal government and how much will be subsidized this year, when it comes to electricity use. But let's get to hear another individual still talking about the tariff. And this is Bex Dagogo Jack. Bex Dagogo Jack is a former chairman of Presidential Task Force on Power. He got to talk about, the idea. He said he is totally in support of some people paying more to sustain the sector.
All right. Before we check him out, let's check out Femi Falana, who made a statement over the weekend on this issue of electricity tariff. And it was really interesting what he had to say. He said that the electricity subsidy ended in 2022. So how come the government is making Nigerians pay for the inefficiency and incompetence of those managing the electricity sector? Let's take a listen.
Now, when you look at these figures, vis-a-vis the commitment or the announcement of the government in 2022 that electricity subsidy has ended, the federal government will have to set up a public inquiry to address these conflicting figures from the IMF, the Minister of Power, and the Commission, so that we know what we are talking about. But as far as the federal government of Nigeria is concerned, electricity subsidy ended in 2022. What they are now doing, what the government is doing now, is to make Nigerians pay for the inefficiency, for the profligacy, and the incompetence of those who are managing the electricity sector in Nigeria. And so we have a history. We are coming from, they're talking of a journey. Where did we get to this mess? By 2012, the electricity sector, I think in 2007, delayed President Yar'Adua, when there was this controversy that $16 billion had been wasted on generating darkness by the previous regime, the Olusegun Obasanjo administration. President Yar'Adua was under pressure, tremendous pressure, to privatize the industry. And he said, no, we are going to see what Nigerians can do to manage, and they were called, not NEPA then, I think it had become PHCN. And by 2012, that body had become self-sufficient, that was no longer being subsidized, it was no longer getting any subvention from the government. But again, as soon as President Yar'Adua passed on, this renewed prayer came from local capitalists and the IMF and World Bank. Thou shalt privatize. Of course, in 2013, some form of privatization was alleged to have taken place. We had 18 electricity companies. As a minister in that regime then, the then Minister of National Planning, Dr. Shamsuddin Usman, later admitted, we sold the electricity companies to our friends. Those friends did not bring any money to the table. They didn't have the fund, they didn't have the competence or the managerial capacity to man or to run those discos efficiently. That is what we are paying for today. So the government must, frankly speaking, apologize to Nigerians that we have mismanaged the electricity sector, and then we go back to the drawing table and begin to find out how we are going to run our country in the interest of our people and not in the interest of some dubious agencies abroad. And I'm talking of the IMF and World Bank. And I have challenged those two bodies that between 2021 and 2023, the IMF in its report claimed that Western governments spent about $7 trillion on biofuel. And
all right, that's the voice of Mr. Femi Falana, SAN, who, you know, always lends his voice when he sees there's a level of injustice in Nigeria. And at the moment, when you look at the electricity tariff, the NERC is saying it's just for the Band A customers, but people within the Band B, Band C, Band D, and Band E, they've also experienced an equal hike, not necessarily to the tune of the 250%. It was set out for the Band A, but there's been a level of increment for the Band B, Band C, Band D. Just what that would look like depending on your band is still left to be seen.
Okay, still talking about the electricity tariff. Basically, we'll actually leave the conversation for later. But let's get to listen to what Chief Dagogo had to say, especially as regarding the issue of electricity tariff, and of course, being in support of certain people paying more to support the sector. Let's listen to Bex Dagogo Jack.
And the other side of this challenge, if you ask me, is that you generate a higher quantum of unwilling customers. People now willing to bypass meter, people now willing to dodge payments, people doing things that they shouldn't do because suddenly there is a big leap from what their former bill to the next bill. Mm-hmm. When that happens, the net impact is that eventually you run into higher collection losses. Okay. And then whatever you're seeking to achieve at the end of the day becomes a problem.
All right, that was Bex Dagogo. Moving on to another story here, we have the Labour Party and Peter Obi in the news once again, and he's saying he's not leaving the party for any reason, and also even if he doesn't get the presidency on the platform of the Labour Party, he's still not bothered about that as well. Let's listen.
I appreciate you, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm going around the country trying to, in various communities, support areas of need. Today, the 7th of April, I'm here in Gombe, and I came to this market, Pantami market, to be able to help them in area of water supply. That's the borehole I just mentioned. In area of water, because you could see their business here. You could see all the rams and everything here. You could see them here. Things so, but they don't have water. For you to have such a business, you need water. So that's what we provided. And we're also going to support some have tripled. It makes even the poor more difficult to live in our society.
One of the issues that made Nigerians grow now is the issue of tariffs. Over the few days now, Nigerians are also groaning under the increase. What's your reaction to that?
Well, my reaction to everything that is happening here is that we should all think it through, see how we can provide remedy, how we can deal with it, especially as it concerns the poor areas. Everywhere in the world is known that those who are living in high areas are more interested now in Nigerians feeding today than about tomorrow. We're always concentrating about the election rather than what Nigerians are going through. My commitment is about Nigerians living in a better society, living a better life. You could see this business without water for years. That's what we should care about, and that's my concern.
All right, Peter Obi was at the commissioning of a project, and he was asked a couple of questions talking about electricity tariffs, also the internal wranglings within the APC, and then also about elections as well. And what he had to say was, it's not a do-or-die affair. Being the president isn't a do-or-die affair, and I mean, he will just move on if he doesn't get the ticket, right? He's not quitting the Labour Party regardless.
At least Labour Party, followers can now be at rest, especially with the internal drama going on with the party, and there's several speculation that he might be leaving the Labour Party and having a coalition with the former governor of Kaduna State. So many drama flying on around right now in the political space. But we'll be having a robust conversation with El-Rufai OSENI in a bit. Possibly this is one of the first questions I will be posing to him this morning right here on the show. We'll just quickly take a breather, and when we come back, we'll be having a conversation with El-Rufai OSENI. Stay here.
Others may drop the mic. I talk into it. If you're in need of a voice, well, I've got one.
Voice of the People, 96.1 FM. Talk.
Before you even announce a result, you should have the CTC waiting.
Keep talking.
If you want to tax people, you must provide them service.
Don't stop talking.
If anybody is telling that I'm a mole, that person is just being mischievous.
Hey, it's your rights to talk.
We are Voice of the People.
Let's talk.
We bring you all the big stories and what's behind them. Politics, business, sports, news, all on VOP 96.1 FM. Now you have a voice.
Yo, welcome back. This is the Front Page Review, and of course, being joined right here is El-Rufai OSENI. Good morning to you, El-Rufai.
Bless you guys. How's everything?
Great. Happy weekend. Happy new week. Happy everything.
Yeah. Happy weekend. Happy new week. And happy birthday to me, actually. So.
It's today. It's today.
Happy birthday, Mr. El-Rufai.
Thank you, guys.
So today we're turning up, but before we turn up, let's get into the business for today. Let's talk about Peter Obi and the drama of the Labour Party right now. Remember yesterday the NLC said Peter Obi is free to leave the Labour Party if he wants to, but in response to that, he was in Gombe State yesterday. He was asked that question, and he said he's not leaving the Labour Party for anywhere. But there have been speculations flying around on the social space, especially, and some call it an unusual alliance that some might see, even though there's still speculations. Some talking about him, some talking about putting Peter Obi and El-Rufai's name in the same picture. What could that be all about?
I just think those are just political permutations and all of that. You always see all of that. The Labour Party stinks, as I've always said, and they need to fix their home. But Obi has also said that he's not leaving. But I can't trust politics. I don't trust them that much. So let's say it pans out when that time comes. We'll see it. But what has to be said is, how can we get politicians to fight for the rights and the interests of our people? I mean, we've seen people that will swear and they will never leave Labour Party. They will never leave PDP. Like Mr. Wiki, that if I leave PDP, this will happen. But you can see how he worked.
He hasn't left now. He hasn't left the party. Still a member of the PDP.
But you can see how he worked against his party. That's what I'm saying. He has not left PDP. He's still a member of PDP. But after all the great things he said, if I do this against PDP, you can see how he went against his party. So I don't take politicians really seriously.
Okay, now that we're on this subject of the PDP and Wike, we're seeing permutations that there's a bit of a row between Atiku and Wike's loyalists within the PDP. This is looking for leadership, hustling for leadership of the party, projecting towards 2027. Should Wike even at this point be hustling for the leadership of the party? Looking at the fact that we saw what played out during the general elections, and he worked against his party for that particular election.
If PDP members decide to snooze, they lose. If after what Wike did to the party by decimating the party, he still takes over the party because he can, put some people in his good books and try to drag the favor of some people, it's on them. The joke is on the PDP then. But I know him and Atiku are fighting for the soul of the party. The PDP too, I would like to announce he is in big disarray as we speak. They can't reach a quorum on something. The PDP is so toothless as we speak. All the people that worked against the party, there is no way to sanction them. They've not been able to do anything to sanction them and all of that. People are just looking at, just watching on how all of these things are happening. So it's a sad reminder that, the political state in Nigeria is in a state of flux as we speak. And it's just a sad one.
PDP will be having their neck. I think that should be probably next week, Thursday, if I'm not mistaken, 18th of April. And we know that during that particular meeting, the who is who in PDP will actually be at that particular meeting. Now, looking at the heart and soul of the PDP right now, with Atiku on one side, their supporters, Wike supporters on the other side, is this not drama brewing, especially for the PDP?
It's going to be fight to finish. They are going to fight like mad. They are going to fight, politically manipulate each other because it's going to be for the soul of the party. So the question is, will Wike be able to eat his cake and have it in his hands by working against the party and at the same time making a 360? And all of this fight is for 2027.
Exactly.
So it's going to be a big fight. It's not at the interest of Nigerians. It's for really 2027. So they're going to fight till the end.
Mr. Rufai, during the 2023, during the campaign season before the 2023 general elections, I remember Atiku saying that should he lose the elections, that PDP is done for. So what exactly is he struggling for the leadership of the party for? Because he already declared that the PDP will be done should he lose the elections come 2020 February 2023.
It has to be said, Atiku has ambition. Atiku wants to be president. He will do anything to reinvent himself to get that position. He's been doing it for over 30 years. The first time he had a stab at it was 1993. But there was a bigger personality in the SDP then called MK Abiola. He felt discontent because a lot of people also thought that because he stepped down in the primaries that were held in Jos in 1993 by the SDP, he was going to be able to get it. But no, we all know how that story went. Abiola went with Kingibe as his running mate. So since then, he's been in the fray. He got his chance as vice president in 1999. He had first become governor in an election before Boni Haruna now took over. And since then, he's been trying. So Atiku's end aim is want to be president. So his platform that he's going to use is probably the PDP. He has tried other platforms too in the past, if you remember. He has tried the ACM. This is Quest. He wants to be president. That's a fact on ground.
Isn't that a red flag? You know, in relationships, right? When you see that someone is coming on too strong, it's usually a red flag for the ladies. So at this point in time, isn't it a red flag when you see someone who really desperately seems desperate to want to be in that particular position?
Rufai, before you answer the question, I was expecting to also ask Gessie, who is the lady here in this picture?
Nigeria is the lady.
No, so for me, with relationships, I've also learned that some ladies might see it as a red flag coming too strong, but there are some ladies that actually want you to chase them aggressively. And they say, oh, he has ambition for me. There are some relationships here that you'll be friends and you'll catch feelings and segue into it. But there's also some relationships that no matter how much you're friends for and the lady like you, if you don't see officially push and chase her, she will say no. So maybe in this regard, Atiku's idea is to show his ambition and not hide his ambition. So there's not a one side fits all to the only time you know something is a red flag or not is when if the person gets in there and doesn't perform. That's just it. It's not a bad thing for a man to tell a lady a gazillion times, I love you, I love you, I love you, until she balks.
Okay.
So it might just be his ambition.
Quickly, let me ask this before we move on to another headline, because there's one I know you want to touch on. Let's talk about the same drama in the PDP right now. We know that the PDP has threatened those who worked against them during the 2023 election. And this next meeting, some have actually said, the decider will be happening at that meeting next week, Thursday. But with what we are seeing right now with Atiku and PDP side struggling for power within the structure of the party, will they really punish those who worked against the party?
You're not going to do jack. Like I said before, they're like a toothless bulldog as far as I'm concerned. They're not going to do, like they say, shingbai. They're not going to do. They don't have the muscle. They couldn't go after an Ishimaruki and Namani. All the people they try suspending, didn't they reverse it among themselves? Didn't they lead to a breakback in the PDP? The PDP is in disarray. So politicians, they know where they buried each other's corpses. So they know. So let's that talk that PDP is going to do anything.
Okay.
It's just bobo.
Now you still want to touch on that, or let's move on to another story?
We're moving on to another story.
Let's quickly touch this headline that is on Daily Trust. I don't know if you saw that development where the kidnapped kingpin Wadume was released, and according to the pictures we've seen online, he was even given a heroic welcome in Taraba after his jail term. And the pictures making around on social media, he was even standing. There was a prison officer somehow being flanked in that same picture, and this has raised a lot of questions as regards his release after his jail term. The officer standing or flanking him during that picture, in that particular picture. So is this celebration of this individual who was found guilty of 2 count charge?
We've built an atmosphere of crime and criminality, and it's only God that can help us in Nigeria. This man has been released, but the question you should ask is, has he been reformed? We all remember the things centered around him, or the ecosystem. We all remember how when he was being transferred from one hand to another, people were killed.
Exactly.
We all remember the division in the security architecture as we cover this man. So has he been reformed? Is there any guarantee that he's not going to go back to a life of crime and criminality? So,
are we not releasing
ecosystem.
Are we not
The
releasing
sad reality
him
of
back?
Nigeria. The sad reality of Nigeria today is that we keep showing the body language that crime pays, but crime does not pay. We should not have a society where we have crime and criminality. We should not have a society where we have evil. It's not good. We should not have a society because we have people that can do evil on our behalf and benefit from that. We should shield them. It comes back to haunt all of us in the end.
Mr. Rufai, The issue of Wadume,
Yes.
you know, it is very interesting because I remember the whole drama. I remember when, the former, I think, inspector, is it DSP? DSP Habakiari, because his men were the one who arrested him. And I know that a 13 count charge was filed against him, although he was found guilty of 2 of those count charges. And we saw the drama that ensued, where it was reported at the time that an army captain helped him, escape during that particular time. You know, there's something specific and spectacular about this Wadume guy that meets the eye, and Nigerians are not talking about it. Is it that there are certain individuals shielding this man, even though he was found guilty of 2 count charges out of the 30?
You see, when I speak big English like ecosystem of crime and criminality, you should know that word is very deep, with due respect. So it shows you there's an ecosystem. I mean, how can a criminal be arrested and there's a fight between 2 security agencies about a criminal? That's to show you there's an ecosystem of crime and criminality. And it is so bad now that the only people that they celebrate in this country is when you have an army of people that carry guns for you, or you are very mean and wicked. You could get away with things. Before you know it, these criminals start to partner with politicians. Politicians start to shield them. They start to work for most of these politicians. They have connection with religious leaders. Criminals start to build an ecosystem. Then the next thing, they start to do one dirty charity to still affirm themselves in society. And that's the kind of government society we've built. And this society will not go anywhere if we don't change that. There's crime, there's criminality. Criminals are beginning to be the big people everywhere. It's so bad that you see law enforcement trying to do photo ops with criminals. Heroic welcome. And I'm sure probably when you ask why they do heroic welcome, it's because, maybe he gives some arms to people, gives some help to people. But the question is, but what about the other people he's hurting to be able to make a means of living? Do we think of that at all? Do we think of the lives he's destroyed? So I think we need to think deeply, because we've lost society. We've lost society. You know, the Yorubas have a saying, what it means is, a woman can be backing a baby, and you have an elderly person in the market, and the head of the baby is tilted to one corner. The elderly person will run and put the head of the baby up because he knows it's going to be the pain. But let me tell you what is happening in Yoruba society. What it means is that the elderly people are seeing all these shenanigans happening, and they're not doing anything about it because they are in support and in cahoots. That's the kind of society we have built, and that's a sad reality for my country. That's a sad reality for my country. This was the same country before that if you were a crime or you perpetrated criminality of some sort, you were ostracized. People like that will not even come back to the society because the shame will be so much. But what we can do is to castigate people. The other day we were interviewing the girls that returned from Boko Haram and Chibok, and they were saying the ostracization was a big problem. The fact that people were always telling them that, you are daughters of terrorists and all of that. But the real terrorists and the bandits, people praise them in society. Is that not the society we have built? So that's just a sad reality of what Nigeria has become.
Okay. Anyway, we'll move on to other headline, but let me just drop this here. I saw a before and after picture of his arrest, where he was flanked with by DSP Abakiari, and I saw the picture of his release, and there's a sharp contrast. He was looking healthier than he was, when he entered into prison, but
ironically,
I'm not saying anything happened, but ironically,
make of that what you will. At this point in time,
now today, they are enjoying the go of Nigeria. I mean, we hear all sorts of stories now. So forget all of that. You saw the investigative journalism job Fisaya went to do, that put himself in prison for a while to check how it goes. I mean, this was crystal clear. Now we know what goes on. It is well with us.
Okay.
All right. This particular story had me really, really confused because the federal government is planning 3 national ID cards for 104 Nigerians come June. And you begin to wonder, where exactly are we setting our priorities at this point? Because the first ID card is supposed to be for it's a bank-enabled national ID to meet the needs of the middle and upper segments who typically use banks. And then there's the National Safety Net card to meet the urgent needs for authentications for things, government services like palliatives and all that. And then there's the third one that is going to be ECOWAS cards, and it will be issued on as-needed basis in collaboration with the NIS, Nigerian Immigration. So how many ID cards are we going to have until we have a cohesive database?
We don't need all of that. We need one number, which is the NIN number. Harmonize your BVN and everything, put it. It's been done everywhere in the world. Harmonize your NIN, your every number, put it together there. When you put it together, use it to harmonize it. Everywhere in the world you go, there's something called an Aadhaar number in India. In America, social security. Just harmonize it, put it together, and let it flow that way. You don't need all of that. All of that is just bureaucracy. You can even load up your medical records on that thing, so that in case of an emergency, they can open it up. If you do it in such a way that we have a uniformity and we can share database on the system, you can just even go to an embassy and you present your name and what's it called. There's a page there. They can put your passport on it, and you can do many things now. You don't even need a physical passport any longer.
Exactly.
Mr.
So there are so many things you can do on it. Yes, sir.
I totally understand, but will this not be to the detriment of the average Nigerian who will need this to go and open bank accounts?
What?
I say, will this not be to the detriment of an average Nigerian who will need any of these IDs to open bank accounts? Because that's what we use all those ID cards for. We don't even use them for anything.
But it's an harmonization of the system now. For what is it called? For the past couple of years now, the only thing I present from identification is my name. You should be able to get all the data sets in there now. It's just about harmonizing the touch points. Let's just see the data touch points.
Let's not even talk about the amount of money, resources, time, and energy that's going to be put into ensuring
and
that
the
this
corruption
project
that's going to enter.
Exactly.
The corruption that's going to enter.
The point is the queues that I'm thinking about. I'm not even thinking about any of the drama of even accessing these cards at the end of the day. The NIN self that we did, we were in queues for over 1 week before we could actually access it. But
so they ought to be no queues. After you did the NIN and everything, they should just be able to send the number to your email address or your WhatsApp or your contact points. Simple. These are the rigor we need to do more in our technology. And there are young Nigerians that can do those things. They are everywhere. They are here, but go and meet them. They will crack it. Have an hackathon on it. They will provide a solution.
Okay.
I gotta go, guys. Bless you all.
Thank you so much, Rufai.
Before you go, happy birthday. Happy birthday once again.
Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Bless you all. Thank you so much. God bless you all. Thanks.
All right. Okay, to you listening, do well to send us a message on YouTube. Leave a comment right there. We're live on YouTube. If you're just tuning in and you didn't know, we're live on YouTube at Voice of the People Abuja. Join us there. We'll be joining Mr. Larry in a bit, but the number to call to be a part of the show is 0700 010 961 961. Yes, it's a 13-digit number, but go ahead and send a WhatsApp message or leave a call right there, 0700 010 961 961. Let's take a break, pay some bills, and when we come back, we'll be talking with Larry Oguego in a bit.
Voice of the People, 96.1 FM.
Are you traveling to Lagos and desire a perfect getaway?
Look no further than the luxurious accommodations at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, number 42 Murtala Mohammed International Road, Lagos.
Relax and unwind in our beautiful appointed rooms, featuring all the amenities you need for a comfortable stay.
Now, whether you are traveling for business or pleasure, our attentive staff is here to ensure that your every need is met. We also offer complimentary pick-up and drop from the Lagos airport.
Why not take advantage of our state-of-the-art fitness center, outdoor pool, and enjoy a delicious meal at our on-site restaurant?
With stunning views, world-class service, and a prime location, Airport Golden Tulip Hotel is the perfect choice for your next vacation or business trip.
So why wait? Book your stay today and experience the ultimate in comfort and luxury at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel.
For bookings and reservations, please call 0815-8003-333 or 0815-7003-333. You can visit our website at airportgoldentuliphotel.com.
Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, where luxury meets comfort.
Believe me, believe me, believe me.
Hey, neighbor, come. This one where you wear spaghetti top, leggings and koi shoe. Where you dey go this morning?
My brother, I dey rush go VOP. Make Oga Caretaker help me advertise my business on top trading post. Make me sell follow blow.
Correct, neighbor. If you get house, land, motor or property where you want sell sharp to raise money, use Japa or to complete that your special project, bring and come trading post. You dey sell restaurant, hotel, nightclub or beer parlor? You be mechanic, spare parts dealer, AC repairer, photo studio, school, church, importer or exporter? Bring and come trading post. Trading post na the ogbonge marketplace on top radio where people wey dey buy and people wey dey sell dem are dey meet sharp. Trading post dey sell every Monday to Friday from 15 minutes past 8 o'clock in the morning kpomkwem on top Voice of the People 96.1 FM. To advertise your own business for small shikili money, make you call Oga Caretaker on top 0807 660 6162 or make you carry waka come with office wey dey for number 4 Ogbomosho Street, wey dey for Garki area 8 Abuja. No dey for water soap enter your ayo. Trading post, ya sharp marketplace on top radio.
Are you aware that Iruka Online Limited installed and designed a 100,000 capacity church building? Oh yeah, we are the sole distributors of global leading brands all over the world, such as Wafday Line Array, speakers and digital amplifiers, Preseno's digital mixers and studio equipment, Coswell workstations and keyboards, Fender guitars, Mapex drums, Ashdown bass combos, just to mention but a few. We offer flexible payment plan handled by our financial department with 24/7 customer care support system. You can visit our website on www.iruka.com to avoid buying fake products. You can also visit our showroom at number 36 Lagos International Airport Road beside Golden Tulip Hotel. Iruka, never settle for less.
Meet us on YouTube, Insta, and Twitter at Voice of the People 96.1 FM.
Others may drop the mic. I talk into it. If you're in need of a voice, well, I've got one.
Voice of the People 96.1 FM.
You're welcome back. This is the Front Page Review right here on Voice of the People 96.1 FM. You're welcome back. My name is Simeon Sunday.
I am Gesere. Of course, we're live on YouTube. Join us on YouTube. You can also subscribe as well. Click that like button, subscribe and share and all the goodies that come with YouTube on Voice of the People Abuja. Voice of the People Abuja. You can also join the conversation on our phone line 0700 010 961 961 0700 010 961 961. All right, we checked out a couple of headlines with Rufai earlier. We talked about electricity tariffs. We also talked about federal government planning 3 different ID cards, which is a really interesting, which is a very interesting development because we know that
we have more options. The truth is we now have more options.
Do we not already have more options?
Exactly. So we
already
have
a lot more options
of what cards you use in identifying yourself, or you use.
There's a driver's license,
in opening bank account.
There's the national ID card. There's your BVN.
More options. That's what I'm saying. More options.
Oh, we need more.
Yes. So
how many more will be enough? 30. Until we have 30 more, that's when we know that we have enough ID cards. Anyway, we also have electricity tariff. OPS takes power tariff hikes protest to Tinubu. OPS takes power tariff hikes protest to Tinubu. That's what this headline here is saying. But we're trying as much as we can to get to our guest, Mr. Larry Oguego.
While we're trying to get through to Larry, let's just flesh out, this particular headline, especially as regarding the electricity tariff in the country, as this has sparked a couple of debates. And I saw a development just yesterday night, which I'm going to talk about. Since I dragged my AEDC sometime last week, I'm going to talk about them again today. But still on that OPS taking power tariff hike protest with Tinubu, it says as controversies continue to trail the federal government recent removal of electricity subsidy for over 1.8 million customers categorized to be on Band A feeders, members of the organized private sector has insisted that the hike must be suspended for review. As such, plans are to meet President Tinubu on this particular matter. And the OPS, which includes the Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, they've disclosed that they will be meeting with the president on this particular subject.
All right, we have Mr. Larry on the phone this morning. Good morning to you and welcome.
Good morning, Jason. Good morning, Simeon.
Good morning, Mr. Larry. And how is, let me just let the cat out of the bag. How's Nairobi, Kenya this morning?
Well, Nairobi is good. At least I don't have any problem with power. Don't have any problem with your new tariff. I don't have any problem with
you will come back and meet
network.
us.
I don't have any problem with network coming on and off.
Larry, you had to go low on us. That's not fair.
Oh, sorry.
That is over. Maybe you will come back and meet us here. We not come back.
Well, let me enjoy it while it lasts now.
Okay, let's talk about the tariff for a bit. And I'll just give you a background of what happened over the weekend. We've seen Nigerians, even the organized private sector, saying they are going to meet with the president so this can be reviewed. And we saw that, the NERC gave an approval for those within the Band A feeders. They should pay higher as subsidy was totally removed for such people. And of course, we saw a lot of Nigerians cry out that are they really Band A feeder users? Because it seemed like the increment in the tariff went across board. I talked about it here to you last week that I bought just in trial. I bought 1,000 naira units and I got 4. And then the next day I bought 4,000 and I got 16.5 units. As at last night, I decided to buy, to test it again, and I bought 4,000 naira worth of power. And they gave me 26 point something units. That is the original value that I should have gotten. And then I had to go through the AEDC portal to check what band I belong to. And I realized that I've been dropped from Band A to Band B. So that is why I got the reflective tariff when I bought 4,000 naira. Now the question I'm asking is, who will refund my money for the 1,000 and 4,000 I bought earlier, where I was giving a unit synonymous to those using Band A feeders? And I saw a development also where NERC even fined the AEDC 200 million naira for hiking tariff for all customers, which I was also involved in.
I think one thing NERC should have done would have been to fine AEDC, but then ask them to refund the people they overbilled. I remember that some time ago in the UK, the water companies, some of the utility companies had issues. They didn't even overbill. They just asked them to refund their clients some of the monies they paid, running into millions of pounds because of poor service delivery. So you don't just collect the fine, meanwhile you didn't pay the bill, and then I paid the bill, I'm not getting any compensation. You collect the fine and you go home. So I think the first thing is Oga AEDC, check the people you overbill. This thing is computerized, so it's very easy to check. And then either you give them back their money, which is cumbersome, but better still give them power equivalent to the amount that you overbill them. Yes, once you do that, you can then discuss fine. It's not fair for you to collect fine, and then the people who are shortchanged are not compensated. So I think NERC should go ahead and also get them to give back the power that they took. And I raised this issue of who will now identify who is in band A and band B. In fact, that's what most Nigerians were worried about, because who even checks how much power he consumes? But the truth is that the cat has already been let out of the bag. So now NERC knows that they have to be very vigilant if this is going to work. On paper, it looks good. But in practice, the question becomes, how do you get the distribution companies to adhere to the principle? Because I'll tell you something, very soon, the consumers will go to bed. What I mean is they will forget that they should be vigilant to know if they are getting value for money. And you'll be surprised that some people will be fleeced again. So I think NERC should be vigilant. The consumers should be vigilant so that people are not so changed. Better still, the entire process should be reviewed to make for transparency, which includes the fact that even those who are genuinely on the band A, what happens when they don't get the 20 hours plus? Exactly. I mean, sometimes there may be a glitch. If they don't get it, who compensates them for the extra money they are paying for that service? Because this is Nigeria. I'm sure that at some point there may be power outage, there may be grid shutdown, and then they won't get the 20 hours. So who pays them for that? We need to clarify this thing before we jump into more revenue. We need to get to make it work properly so that people won't continue to lose confidence in government and institutions that are aligned to government.
Still a recent development in our electricity sector. We're seeing the Siemens deal being revived at the moment. $2.3 billion Siemens power project transformers and substations have arrived in Nigeria. That's what the minister said yesterday. And he talked about that because of the COVID-19 pandemic and then the passing of the late chief of staff to the former president Muhammadu Buhari, Abba Kyari, all those things hampered the implementation of the MOU that was signed between Nigeria, Siemens, and Germany as well. So according to Adelabu, because of that issue, he said that the project remained stalled until President Bola Tinubu came on board. And right now, we're seeing the delivery of transformers and substations arriving in Nigeria. How far would that even go in ensuring that at least supply, and then maybe we might even see a reduction in tariffs? Because one thing about Nigeria is when things go up, they hardly ever come down. So it's a thing of concern. So with this Siemens deal, the fruition of this Siemens deal, will it bring an equal reduction in prices of the tariff?
There is no likelihood that we're going to get any reduction anytime soon, because the tariff is determined by the price of gas, among other things. So I don't see the price coming down. The price may come down if by some kind of miracle the price of gas plummets. But even if that happens, I don't see that reflecting quickly, because there are other issues that they will latch onto, and they explain why it won't come down. And the truth is that Nigerians won't even expect the price to come down. I think we should focus on getting better power supply. And Siemens is one of the global giants. They have a reputation, they have the technical expertise. But I'm worried by the fact that the death of one man stalled a national project. And that's the disadvantage of having strong individuals instead of strong institutions. He signed the contract on behalf of the nation. That is, he was part of the conversation on behalf of all of us, not on his own personal behalf. Yes, not in his personal capacity. So I don't understand why his passing should stall the process. It means that either he had too much influence in the process and he didn't probably have a team and all that. If he had a team, if anything happened to him, the next in line would ordinarily continue. But when too many persons probably didn't have the details of the contract or know how to proceed, then you have this problem. And it's a lesson for all of us. And it's embarrassing that the minister should say that the person of one person stalled the project. I understand COVID is stalling the project, yes, but I don't understand the person of a powerful Nigerian stalling a national project. That's a lesson we should learn. If we are doing a business on behalf of the nation, it should be structured in such a way that it should reflect the fact that you're dealing with a nation and there should be a team, so that if anything happens to anybody, even if the person is busy and nothing happened to him, already deployed or sacked, the project should ordinarily continue. But I don't see prices coming down. I hope that they won't play politics with it. Siemens is very, very good in that business. So if they get all the cooperation they need, I'm sure that the power will improve. But then, of course, we have to deal with issues of transmission. It's not just about generating power. We have more power than we consume now. Transmission is a critical issue, and that's where substations come in and all of those things. So we hope that now that they're talking about Band A and Band B, let's see if Siemens will help us have stable supply for those people that they're designating special bands.
All right, let's move on to Kano State.
And talking about Kano, we talk about the dollar video. And the Kano State government is now asking the EFCC to release reports of Ganduje's probe. The Kano State Governor Abba Yusuf has now urged the FCC to release the result of his probe into the alleged dollar bribery video involving the immediate governor of the state, Abdullahi Ganduje. We know that there have been a back and forth between the governor, Abba Yusuf, of the NNPP and his predecessor, especially as regards to the dollar video, with them wanting to probe as well as punish Abdullahi Ganduje for that particular report. Now, Kano State government want to work on that report, and they are now asking the EFCC to please release the probe, the result of the probe they had on that particular video, so they can actually go ahead with what they want to do as a government.
Yeah, first of all, I don't think we need to beg EFCC to release a report of investigations. If they found out that Ganduje had nothing to hide, that he wasn't culpable, they should have released the report clearing him. If they felt he was, they should have also released the report indicting him. The fact that this whole investigation and report is shrouded in some kind of secrecy tells you that something is manifestly wrong, not only with the process that we deploy when investigating crime, but also with what happened. It lends the whole process to some kind of suspicion. That suspicion that probably Ganduje did something wrong, and then suspicion that EFCC may be trying to do a cover-up. The honorable thing to do and the professional thing to do is to publish a report on this kind of matter when you get it, because it's in public domain. And moving forward, we should also realize that Kano State has official interest in the matter, because at the time the incident took place, he was the governor of the state. And if there is a probe and per chance, money is changed hands, they have an interest in knowing which money from where to who, for what purpose, so that if it's their money, they could go and get their money back. But I think the most important thing is that EFCC should not allow political influence or any such thing to mar the fact that Nigerians are sometimes, beginning to believe that maybe they are doing this job. I don't want us to continue to believe that EFCC is basically a political watchdog that is unleashed on politicians who are out of favor. I want to believe that it's a kind of watchdog that can pursue if the owner decides to stay in his own house. That's the kind of watchdog we want. It's happened in South Africa where Zuma was tried. It's happening elsewhere. It's happening practically all the time. The former minister of defense and the speaker of House of Reps or whatever in South Africa is under fire now, and we need to go to South Africa to learn how to hold politicians accountable. They fought for their freedom, so they cherish their freedom. They cherish their political independence. We didn't fight. We spoke about freedom and we got it. So we don't take it seriously. But if you go there, you notice that they don't spare anybody. They don't. Here, all animals are equal, but some are more equal than others, and we have to stop that.
Okay.
All right.
Anyway, thank you so much, Mr. Larry. We need to let you go, but it is necessary I put this because we know that I think it was sometime last year, 2 years ago, last year, where the Kano State, I think I've forgotten the exact. I think it was the Kano State Public Complaints, yes, an anti-corruption commission actually said that video, they've done their forensics and the video was genuine. So now, if they've done their forensics, why do they have to wait for an official probe from the EFCC EFCC, why did they have to wait that long for EFCC to give them the report? Why can't they go ahead? If they really want to prosecute Ganduje, there are other means to go around it, not necessarily the probe or the result of the probe by the EFCC.
You're right, but then the EFCC has already done the job, so maybe they want to start from there. That's they may also want to tell the rest of us that EFCC probably didn't intend to do their job thoroughly. There may be other things that we may not know about this, but the truth of the matter is that EFCC, having done the job and being the institution that is statutory empowered by the federal laws to do that, they have every right to call for the probe. They can also do their own if they want. They can set up a panel of inquiry. They are empowered to do so much, and they can go ahead and do those things. They probably want EFCC to get the report in advance so that maybe tomorrow, if they indict Ganduje, EFCC won't say no, give me a clean bill of health. This is it has become political, really, and it underscores the fact that as a nation, we salute and promote people who are dealing with scandals. In other clients, when people are dealing with scandals, they step aside, even if the scandal is not necessarily proven to be true. It's an indictment on our on the quality of morality that our political leaders exhibit. They don't seem to be bothered about anything, and that is not good enough.
Thank you so much, Mr. Larry, for coming on board, and we hope that whatever you went to Nairobi for, becomes fruitful. If it's enjoyment you went to enjoy, to leave the stress in Nigeria, we hope you enjoy yourself and come back
and bring
to what you
bring a part of the enjoyment with you when you're coming back.
Well, basically we came for a conference, and Nigeria will still come up in the matter. And we hope that whatever benefits will trickle down if Nigeria doesn't find a way to stop it. But we hope for the best and pray for the best.
Thank you, Mr. Larry. Have a great morning. Of course, coming up in a bit will be Trading Post as a new show we introduced right here on the Morning Ride. And for those of you who have been listening to Voice of the People in the past couple of weeks, we've been talking about it. For those of you who have a business, whether it's a car you want to sell, you have a property, you are into business and you want people to know more about what you do, the Trading Post is the right place to come to.
With just 5,000 naira, you get to advertise your business on radio. Trust me, you want to stick around for that. Of course, terms and conditions apply, but with just 5,000 naira, you get to advertise your business on radio. So do stick around and listen to the Trading Post.
With Oga Caretaker.
Yes.
That's what he calls him. Oga Caretaker. Let's get straight to the caretaker himself. My name is Simeon